Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network. We come to you after the Jets and Giants do what the Jets and Giants always do. What do you think? You're going to get something special for Christmas? No chance. As they both lose again today, the Jets losing badly in New Orleans. I didn't expect them to win there. The Saints defense has played well. I think it's ranked fourth in the last 4 weeks. It's played improved football. Shuck has turned out to be a good quarterback. They're very, very happy with him. We mentioned him a lot prior to the draft. He's turned out to be a good quarterback. Like I said, they're very, very happy with him. They feel they can build going forward. The Jets maintain their draft position. They get nothing out of their offense today. Let's be honest. Not that you were expecting a whole lot. The Giant game more interesting from a standpoint of how bad McCarthy's been, and he gets knocked out of the game right before the half when he gets sacked and he fumbles the ball, and the Giants run it back for a touchdown, the only offense the Giants had today. You figured the Giants were going to have trouble today moving the ball against the Flores defense. Flores has had a very good career against young quarterbacks. He confused Dart all day today. I mean, they sacked him 5 times. They really had him 2 other times where it was just careless tackling by the Vikings, who negated 2 big sacks because they hit Dart in the helmet twice and got 15-yard penalties both times. I mean, they were penalties. I'm not saying they weren't, but they were just careless. They were careless tackling. That's all they were. Otherwise, they'd have 7 sacks. If McCarthy doesn't lose that ball right before the half, which got him knocked out of the game, they never would have scored a touchdown, the Giants. Minnesota didn't have to do much to win the game. Give Jones credit. It seemed like he injured his ankle on the first play. Mason went out right away. So now they're down to third string. If Jones isn't going to come back, Jones sits out most of the first quarter. You don't know if he's coming back. He comes back in the second quarter. He does nothing in the first half. And in the second half, he has to stay in the game, and he winds up rushing for 85 yards and being the difference in the game for Minnesota. Burns had, up to sack total. He made plays. Carter had a terrible mistake. He lined up in the neutral zone, which negated a pick 6. He did get a sack. Wasn't much of a game offensively, obviously. And now the more important thing, the Giants maintained the number 1 pick. Now, next week they play the Raiders. The Raiders are going to lose this afternoon in Houston. The only question is by how many. Next week's going to decide the number 1 pick. Right now, the Giants are 1. They maintain that. The Raiders are 2. They maintain that. Tennessee won against Kansas City. Cleveland lost, so Cleveland's going to jump Tennessee. And then the Jets are sitting right there. So Jets are in the top 5. Giants are 1. I am not of the belief that it will be easy for the Jets, who are obviously in the market for a quarterback, and the Giants to make a mega trade. I do not think the odds on that are very good. I know there's been a lot of talk about it. I don't think it's something the Giants really want to do. So while I do think the Giants, if they wind up with the first pick, which I'm not sure they will because they might beat the Raiders next week. The Raiders are actually worse than the Giants, so they might beat the Raiders next week. So that game's going to decide it. Who's going to get the first pick? And the Raiders will take a quarterback if they get the first pick. The Giants will not. Giants will trade out of the first pick. They have Dart, obviously. This was the first time Dart looked like a rookie. He looked like a rookie today. And you thought he might against this defense. He couldn't decipher the defense. The offensive line had a lot of trouble with the defensive looks. Flores is very good at changing his defenses. He gives you one thing, and then he changes it he changes out of the pre-snap read, and he's doing something else. He does a lot of interchanging where he brings guys to the line of scrimmage and drops them at the last second. He drops defensive linemen. He drops defensive ends into coverage. He does a lot of tricky things. He's a good, very good defensive coordinator. he'll probably, despite the fact he has sued the league and some of the teams, which sounds outrageous, I think he probably will get a chance in a settlement to get a head coaching job again. He's going to probably have to settle his suit though and not take the money to get a job as a head coach. If he tries to take the money and the damages that he's trying to win in court, which he might win, but if he does that, I don't think anyone's going to give him a job as a head coach again. If you're suing part of the ownership, if you're suing owners in the league, and you're suing the league, it's going to be very hard to be a head coach. So if he wants to be a head coach again, he might have to drop the suit. We'll have to see. That's up to him. But he could be a head coach again under the right circumstances. He's talented enough to be a head coach. His resume is good enough to be a head coach again. No question about that. I don't like McCarthy. It sounds like they're going forward with him. That's questionable. It really is. But that's their problem, not the Giants. The Giants are tired. They're beat up. They just want the season to be over. I think now even Dart wants the season to be over. The losing has gotten to them. They looked awful today. Now, their last two games, they're going to play a Raider team, which is dreadful. And then they're going to play the Cowboys at home in front of some Cowboy fans, a few Giant fans, and a ton of empty seats. The game doesn't mean anything. Cowboys lost again today. I figured the Chargers, even as banged up as they are, would find a way to beat them. They did. Final score, I didn't pay that much attention to that game. Let me look at the final score. It was 34-17 Chargers. So the Giants could win either or both of their last two games. Because I don't see the Cowboys, despite the fact they have offensive players, I'm not even sure everybody's going to play that last game of the season. So I don't know who's going to play it, who's not going to play it for Dallas. Dart's going to, I think, really would like to get a win, which would knock them out of the first spot. I understand that, but there's a good chance they get a win in these last two games because the teams they're playing are equally. The Raiders are worse than the Giants, and the Cowboys are what run they had is over, and now they have no motivation. So I think the Giants could win a game. I think logic would dictate they probably would win a game. I didn't think today would be that game, but I didn't have a lot of faith in Minnesota either with that offense. Minnesota defense played well, and they win. And Aaron Jones showed you what it's like to be a pro because, hey, he came off the field with an injury. He could have sat out the whole game. He not only went back in the game, in the fourth quarter, he has to go back in the game when they took him out of the game because they thought he was hurt again. And he said, no, let me stay in the game. And he got the last first down after they tried to take him out of the game. So give him credit for being a pro and wanting to win the game and wanting to play. That's what you want to see a pro do, is act like that. It's a good thing for younger players to see a guy act like that late in the game, as he did, got the first down, ended the game, wound up with 85 yards rushing. And away you go. So, a couple interesting games later today and tonight. The Pat Raven game's interesting tonight. The Colt game tomorrow night against the Niners is interesting. Very interesting now when you think about what's going on in the West with the Ram loss. I'm interested in the Steelers game against the Lions. I think the Lions will win that game. Bears with that unbelievable. Do you know that last night, not only did the Bears have to get that onside kick, which is so difficult to do now. The guy almost has to flub it for you to get a chance to win it, or it's got to be the most perfect onside kick ever. It's so hard to recover an onside kick. They were the first team to be 10 points down on the wrong side of the 2-minute warning and win a game in the last 500 NFL games. Not one team in the last 500 NFL regular season games had come from behind on the wrong side of the 2-minute warning down double digits. They tied it up, won it in overtime. The Bears have had miraculous wins that way. We all keep saying this, and it's funny, and I've heard it everywhere. Bears are just lucky. They're not a really good team. They're going to get theirs. They're going to get theirs. They're going to get theirs. Well, we keep waiting for them to get theirs, and they keep finding a way to win these games. So give them credit for that. And the quarterback has made a lot of plays at the end of games. He really has. A couple of things from the Giant game. Number one, how many times am I going to watch Slayton drop passes? I mean, how many times? Now, last week, Vilma, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I don't remember which one. Slayton dropped it, and he said he never drops them, which he corrected this week because this week he knew that he had screwed up because this week he said, that's his legacy with the Giants. Well, last week he said he never drops them. He drops them all the time. I know Slayton's supposed to be a good guy and everything. I don't want to see him anymore. Enough. Come on. I mean, there were so few downfield opportunities for Dart and the Giants today, and the Giants were not going to let him run against that Viking defense, and he didn't because they didn't want him getting hurt. And he could have. I mean, he could have taken some shots even behind center today. He took some hits, getting sacked. He only rushed 2 times for 7 yards. You take his legs away, you're taking who he is away. I don't like wrapping him up mentally, but I think they're just trying to get him to the finish line. I know he was hungry to win a game. They're just trying to get him to the finish line in one piece in this first year. They know what they have with him. They like what they have with him. We all like what they have with him. And this game was a good, he went to school today. He knew he was going to face a tricky defense. He knew the reputation of the defensive coordinator, and he was ready for it, but he didn't figure it out. You could see it in his eyes where he's like, okay, I get it. Oh, I got it now. You could see he was having trouble with it. But it happens. That's part of being a quarterback. It's part of learning. That's why young quarterbacks are young quarterbacks. That's why they act the way they act. Sign up for the free Mike Francesa newsletter. You'll get exclusive content, contests. Go to the MikeFrancesAPodcast.com and sign up. And remember, it's absolutely free. Now, players who place a qualifying same game parlay of at least $10 on eligible NFL and NCAA football games will receive one standard entry into the weekly Squares game. Winning standard Squares will be awarded a prize of a $20 bonus bet. See app and website for more details. So, right now, going into today, you had Giants, Raiders, Tennessee, Cleveland, Jets as far as the draft order. Giants stay the same. Raiders will lose and stay the same. Tennessee moved. Cleveland moved. Jets stay the same. So next week got Jets, Giants, Raiders, and that's going to probably decide things. And frankly, I think the Giants might beat the Raiders. I just think the Raiders are that bad. It's really that bad, and I don't know how Pete gets to survive. I don't know if he does. I know he's Pete Carroll, but you know what? He's not young, and this is a disastrous year. And supposedly the new blood into the Raiders, not only Brady, but the guys who bought in, are very aggressive, very wealthy guys, and I think they're going to want to change. I just got a feeling, and I think Brady could take more control there. Brady being an announcer and doing this as ownership and being part of that franchise is nonsense. It's complete nonsense. It's something that other commissioners would never have allowed. And it's not going to be a full-time thing. I could tell you right now, if he's going to stay with the Raiders, he's going to have to eventually give up TV. That's all there is to it. It's not right. It's just not right. If I were a club, I wouldn't even cooperate. I'd say he's not allowed on our premises, and I don't even really want him doing our games. I mean, that's how. I mean, I know some teams have squawked about it, but others haven't. So, in the old days, could never have happened. Never have happened. Not in a million years. Ever. So the Giants keep on losing. The Jets do what's expected. Hey, I saw those reports this week about Glenn. I never thought they would get rid of Glenn, even after he jettisoned the defensive coordinator, which doesn't make him look good, which a lot of things this year haven't made him look good. And he's got a lot to learn, and I don't know if he's going to learn it. But I never thought, for two reasons. One, it's a really bad look. I'll give you three reasons. One, it's a really bad look. Two, they gave him a lot of money. And three, he is part of the family. I never thought they'd throw him out after 1 year. Now they'll throw him out after 2 years, but I don't think they were going to throw him out after 1 year. I would have been shocked if they did. And I think they've dispelled that now, that was going to happen. I don't know where it came from, but I don't believe he's going to get. Now, if they could get somebody special to coach the Jets, why would that person want to coach the Jets? I don't know, but I would be shocked if Glenn isn't back for a second season. I really would, because I think Glenn's got a lot of friends in the league. You know, he's got a lot of guys who like him. Parcells, Sean Payton, Campbell, a whole bunch of guys. And I just don't see them doing. And he's got a rep as a player. Now, he hasn't handled himself right this year. He's tried to be a little bit of the, Parcells, Campbell, Payton tough guy. And it doesn't work if you don't know what you're doing. See, Sean Payton knows what he's doing. Whether you like Sean's act or don't like Sean, understand this. Sean's really good at what he does. He wins. He puts together game plans. He knows what he wants to do in the fourth quarter of tight games. He knows how to coach his quarterback. He knows what he's doing. He's really good. So you can act that way when you're really good. You could be a little cocky when you're really good, and he's really good. Glenn has to realize you can't sell that when you stink. When your team stinks and you don't know what you're doing, you can't sell that. Nobody's going to buy it. They're going to laugh at you. And they're going to start rumors about your job. That's what's going to happen. So I think he'll be back. As for the Giants, I don't have anything new for you about anything. I just think they need to finish this string up and let things, fall into place. I hear the same names everyone else hears. I think the Giants need a strong hand. As I've said, I think they need a 2 feet on the ground, eyes straight ahead kind of guy. They need a disciplinarian with a track record. I don't think one of those is going to be available, though. And I don't think a college coach provides that. I think he provides no more stability and no more certainty than a coordinator does. And that's very little. Every coordinator is a crapshoot. A college coach is a crapshoot. I don't care how successful he's been, he's still a crapshoot. The only guys that wouldn't be a crapshoot are guys who have coached in this league for a while and won, like a Harbaugh or somebody who's even. I was going to say McCarthy, but I'm not the biggest McCarthy fan, and I don't think he's right for the Giants. I think McCarthy is much more of the Tennessee coach next year. I could see that. Much more the Tennessee coach than he is the Giant coach. That's how I see that. I wish there was more to take from these 1 o'clocks with the Jets and the Giants, but at this point of the year, other than the draft order and who's going to wind up running the franchises next year, there really isn't much left. I mean, luckily, there's only 2 games left to play out the string and get this over with for seasons that have been over since September. Brutal years for both teams, obviously. Now, we'll be with you a lot early in the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Look for stuff. We'll be putting stuff out. I want to do something on St. John's. I watched the Kentucky game yesterday. You know, if you've seen a couple of things that I've mentioned, I've been highly critical. I don't want to get into it right now, though, on a football Sunday. I will do a St. John's thing probably tomorrow in depth on what I think, where the mistakes were made, where the mistakes in what people expected came from, and what the future holds. Because let's be honest, this team is not anything like the expectations. And they were embarrassed in the second half yesterday by a Kentucky team, which, if that point guard's going to play for them, and their big man who's coming off a serious knee injury, if he is going to play 25 minutes for them, and they are going to get 30 minutes out of that point guard, who changed the entire game when he came in. I mean, completely changed the game, dominated the game in every they not that the big man didn't not that Quintance didn't change the game inside by his length, shot blocking, size, offensive rebounds, but that game was changed. You saw what happens when you have a point guard and when you don't have a point guard. And he is a really good looking point guard. With that team, Kentucky, which has had these injuries, that team with those two on the floor, Kentucky's a legit Sweet 16 team. If those two are healthy. Now, they haven't been healthy all year, and I don't know what their prognosis is going forward. I mean, the big man came into the post game because I watched the post games yesterday, and he brought his conditioning team in and said, "These guys worked forever to get me back on the floor." He had suffered a very serious knee injury, and that was his first game back. And you saw his length is unbelievable. He just dominated on the inside. But the difference in that game completely was St. John's could not press, could not stop anything. They couldn't play that point guard off pick and roll. They couldn't play him anywhere. They couldn't press him. He got to the basket. He made some great passes. He has made some really beautiful looks. And he toyed with St. John's in the second half. Toyed with them. That's how good he was. And that's what happens when you have a guy who's a real point guard. And St. John's doesn't have one. They didn't even have a facsimile of one. Now they have to figure out how to play without one. Because they don't have one. Again. And they told people, at least the early word that I received was they had one. I don't know where it went. And if they could shoot. Now they can shoot a little bit, but they put their shooters in the wrong spots. There's no consistency as to who. Well, I don't want to. I'm starting to get into the whole thing. I don't want to do that now. I'll do it this week, though, I promise. Because I know there's an interest in it. And let's be honest, I was guilty of overselling them because I was oversold. And I took people's word that the players were the players they said they had, and they weren't. So I say that I'm guilty. I oversold them. And now I've been trying to tell you for the last, 3 weeks or 4 weeks that it's not there. I mean, even when they're trying to sell you something, they weren't selling you the real thing. They're not very good. And they're not anything like last year's team. But again, I spent more time on it than I wanted to. We'll have a busy week early in the week. Let everybody obviously enjoy Christmas. So we got a lot going on this week, and we'll see you tomorrow.